With me. Wow, that was some bowling performance.
Yeah, I mean, up there this morning we're talking about how hard it was going to be for the bowlers, draw most likely, maybe a bit of England-India would have to find a way. They found a way and their captain found a way. They got it reversing early and they did not look back. It was conditions and style of cricket that they are grown up in. They know it well. They have a captain that's determined to win from any situation. Remember, they were 127 for 7 on that first day. But you just need to have a crazy half hour either way and you can win or lose a test. And that crazy half hour came after lunch today with Bumrah and Jadeja, and England were blown away.
They are a seriously good side. They proved that with a second string team in Australia.
Outstanding. I think all you can do is take your hat off to what India are doing and the way. I think it's even more than that. It's the style of play. I think that we all watch the cricket they play and you go, this is fantastic. I look at Bumrah's spell today, 6 overs, 3 maidens, 2 for 6. Every other fast bowler has struggled to make the ball do anything in this test match. We're talking about some pretty amazing bowlers. Bumrah was a class above. He was absolutely outstanding. And together, that rubbed off on the rest. He dragged the rest of that Indian lineup with him. They all played their part. And you've got to take it back to Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli about the way they want to play. Over the last 12 months, what they've been able to achieve on day 5 of a test match. You go back to Sydney when they had to hang on for a draw, beat Australia in Brisbane, chase over 300. Today, after being inserted, losing a toss, 7 for 120, 191 all out, give up a 100-run lead. To come back and win that test match on an absolute flat wicket here at the Oval in hot sunshine, well played India, just too good.
Were England ever really in the shout of chasing that target down once the third innings had finished?
I think because they batted so well last night and the two openers did well, there was a bit of hope. But you look through the history of the game, it's never happened. Here, it's one of the highest ever scores to chase. It was unlikely. But given the form Joe Root's in, if they got off to a good start this morning, you could say, well, maybe an outside chance. But I didn't think India were going to get it done today on this wicket. It just wasn't offering anything for the seamers. As I said, once again, well done, India. I thought they were absolutely outstanding.
Shane says the history of the game would suggest that chasing those runs down, even here at the Oval on this pitch, was unlikely. Should they, though, have found a way to have batted through for a draw to go to Old Trafford 1-1?
I think sometimes you just have to give credit to the opposition. You know, me and we've all been disappointed with the way England's batted and the techniques, and there have been collapses. And historically, and people going home tonight and not seeing the day's play will go 140 for 1, 145 for 6. Another England collapse. Haven't we been here before? I think today's example of a collapse, you have to give credit to Bumrah, you have to give credit to Jadeja, you have to give credit for Umesh Yadav coming back the way he did. Thakur, everyone's saying, why Thakur? Well, that's why. He gets useful runs, useful wickets. We said stubbornness of Kohli with Ashwin. Well, hold on, I'll back my seamers to bowl and get 20 wickets on any surface, with or without Ashwin. So we can be critical of England, and maybe they should have given it a bit more fight, a bit more character. But, you know, Bumrah's bowling a toe crusher to Johnny Bairstow's second, third delivery. The ball to Pope. You know, there's some seriously good deliveries flying around today.
Let's focus. Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think with any of this, you sometimes, you know, in home conditions here, England fans, you'll say, we should have done better than that. You've got to remember, the other side's trying just as hard as you are, and you've got to give credit to them. The only thing I'll say, at 100 for none on a flat surface when England had to bowl, what was it, 150-odd overs, India found a way. Whether it's a little bit of reverse, and they helped because of the conditions, that helped. But still, I just think you've got to look at the dismissals for England. There's a couple of just missed straight ones. So I'll be a little bit disappointed in some of the dismissals, but I think it was more India's great bowling and finding a way to get the win rather than England not being up for it.
I would look further back in the game. I would look at 120 for 7 and say, well, how do they get 191? They did that at Lords and won them the game, the tail. They did it in the second innings here again, pant with the tail, got them up way beyond what they should. Were we ruthless in our first innings when Moeen was going pretty well? Who would have been batting with at the time then?
Wokes.
They were Pope and Wokes, and they were going well. And then they probably got 40 40-50 below par. So I think the mistakes they made earlier in the game would have bought them time today. And in fact, last night India being bowled out was an absolute blessing in disguise for them, because it gave them all the time. It almost took the draw out of the equation.
Let's focus in on Jasprit Bumrah. Now, we actually select the Man of the Match award in the commentary box, and
we've been split.
There's been quite a lot of arguing, put it that way. But let's start with Bumrah and his specific influence on today. That is why he is ranked, in many people's eyes, as one of the top performers, isn't it?
Well, I think we said before this series that he's probably the best fast bowler in the world. To me, drag the rest. I think back to guys like Andrew Flintoff, Darren Goff, Merv Hughes, these type of players. When it's hard, they find a way and they drag the rest of the team with you. And for me, Bumrah did that today. I mean, if you can give him man of the match, I mean, he only took a few wickets for the game. He was my man of the match, Bumrah. Really, what he did today, he was fantastic.
Well, we saw a world-class over from Jimmy Anderson at Headingley. Could have climaxed with the dismissal of Kohli. He was given out and it was overturned on review. That over to Joe Root was world-class, wasn't it?
Yeah, because he's playing and bowling against the best batsman in the world on a pitch that's an absolute featherbed, so he has to be magical. I agree with Shane, actually. Multi-dimensional bowler across all three formats. Who's the best? T20, 50 over and Test match. It's Jasprit Bumrah, and he showed that here in that spell. The other thing it did, it woke this place up. This place would be about 60-40, maybe 70-30 Indian fans. Lunch, 100 and whatever for one. Are we in this game? Which way is it going? Bumrah bowled that spell. This place erupted.
Okay, we are going to say goodbye to viewers who are watching us on Sky Sports main event, because you're going to head to the golf. So if you want to hear from Joe Root, Virat Kohli and the rest of the match analysis, stay with us here on Sky Sports Cricket or move over to Sky Sports Cricket. But main event, you're off to the golf.
Lunch and tea session. We didn't bowl Moeen Ali that much, and it was Ollie Robinson and Jimmy Anderson again on a flat pitch that's doing nothing. So if you do play them, you do have to look after them. But I would go up to him tomorrow, and I'm old-fashioned. Are you available? Yes, I am. Go and win us that game, get us back to tour.
Well, does sports science come into it at all? I know this modern day now with sports science, they come up and say, look, this guy's red zoning. And
yeah, it does, of course, you take that, but I'd find it very difficult to go up to Jimmy Anderson on his home ground, and if he says, look, I'm fine, I've not played any county cricket, or hardly any, I'm not doing anything till the Ashes. It's not like those overs you've said, it's not been on the back of 7 county championship games. It has been just Test match cricket, and obviously, you know, if they break down, they break down, but that is part of being a bowler. But the other part of being a bowler, and it's happened with Joe in the past, and Joe Root, when you get on a flat surface, he tears the backside out of some of these big lads, and he needs to look after him. He really needs to look after him when it gets that flat.
And for the record, I'm with Nasser. I'm not suggesting in any other way. I you know, as a leader, as a bowler, if the captain can't consider you right to play, I'd always be honest. And Joe Root will know the look or the response, whether it be from an Anderson or a Robinson, of what sort of response he gets. If he gets the response he wants, then he'll say, you're playing. As simple as that.
One bowler who did shine for England in this Test match returning was Chris Woakes. How impressed were you with him?
Standing. Very, very good.
Right, what about India? Because they've won 2 games. They've done it all without Ashwin. Shardul was my choice for man of the match because of his runs and his wickets, and who he got out Pope, and he got out Burns, and he got out Root. Not that I'm having a rant on energy.
3 wickets for the match. So he got 3 wickets for the match,
But it doesn't sound... Do you think Kohli is stubborn enough to just stick with what's won it here on a pitch like this, or will he have to look at the surface?
No, he'll have
Manchester
to
and think about Ashwin.
No, because if that is an absolute spinnathon there, which it could be, and he get bounced, he knows. Why are you asking me? He knows the king of spin at Old Trafford, the ball of the century.
But we know he's going to spin here, and he didn't pick him.
Yeah, but it can spin slowly here. Old Trafford with bounce. He may not do it because the balance, he always says the balance, what we know in our dressing room, and he's 2-1 up. But if it's an absolute, he might leave someone out, he might leave Siraj out or someone, he might be going into the red zone. So there are other ways, and then you even increase your batting lineup even further. And at Old Trafford, if it is spinning a lot, you don't need so many seamers. So there are other ways of getting Ashwin in. At the moment, it looks likely they'll, since that World Test Championship, they've stuck with this one plan: 4 seamers and 1 spinner, which is Jadeja.
Well, he might be stubborn, but he's also a fantastic leader, and he's turned this side into a hard nut to crack.
He He has, and they look up to him. He's got the respect of all his players. They back him and they play for him. You know, it's important as a captain that your team play for you. And I think the way Virat conducts himself, and I think we've all got to say thank you, Virat. He loves Test cricket. He's made it priority. India, the powerhouse of world cricket, and you've got the biggest superstar on the planet in Virat Kohli saying, Test cricket is important, and that we value it. We're going to go to Australia and win, and we're going to go to England and win. That means we've won in India, where the ball spins, the fast, bouncy pitches in Australia, the seaming, swinging pitches here in England. We can do it with this side. And I think the way he's led them side, he's made them believe. The belief is such an important part of sport. If you don't believe that it doesn't matter how good a side you have, if you don't believe you can do it, I think Virat Kohli gives them that belief, and I think it's great to watch, and he's great. Long live Test cricket while we have Virat Kohli. Please keep playing for a long, long time, Virat.
Yeah, I mean, Shane's point is spot on. It's their legacy, him and Shastri. It is their final frontier. Like Joe Root the other day, people said, well, judge him on the Ashes. All England captains are judged on the Ashes. An Indian captain, although Rahane took over in Australia after Ireland, but an Indian captain and coach, within the space of a year, in COVID, in bubbles, with everything else that's going on, with 2 IPLs, which they all play in, if they can go and win in Australia, having gone down, and if they can win in England, that would be some legacy and some.
Amazing.
Yeah. Right, finally to you about England. They lost at Lord's, bounced back at Headingley. They've lost here badly. How are they going to bounce back in Manchester?
These that have a great contest of the Test match.
It's been a staggering series. India have won this game by 157. Can England bounce back in Manchester? India lead the series 2-1.